Well, that sucked. YouTube Nation, what is up? Welcome to the Divisional Round episode of the Tailgate Talkers podcast. I'm your host, Justin Morris, and what a wild card weekend. We had close games, we had upsets, my Super Bowl predictions already wrong. What the hell do I know? We'll take a look back on a very crazy and interesting wildcard weekend a little bit, but mostly I want to look forward to the divisional matchups, make some predictions, talk about those, and who do I see going to the Super Bowl now that the Jags are eliminated? Because the Jags were my AFC pick. They're gone. And there's no better place to start than the Los Angeles Rams traveling to Carolina to take on the Carolina Panthers in a great first game to open up wildcard weekend. The LA Rams won 34-31. Man, I don't know about you. I thought the Panthers were going to do it there for a while. I mean, Bryce Young played okay. Coker, McMillan, the wide receivers, really had a great game. I think Coker had like 130-some yards and a touchdown. McMillan had like 80-some. That was your path to beat the Rams. If the Rams have a weakness, it's really their secondary. It's their corners. You could really throw on these guys. So if you have some big-time receivers on the outside, that's your path, quite frankly. The Panthers never really got the running game going as they would like. Neither team did, really. And Matthew Stafford played a Matthew Stafford game. Over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. You're going to have to outscore the Rams. That's just the way it's going to be. And the way to outscore the Rams is to throw on those corners. Look, it's not the easiest task in the world, but that's your path. I think if you're a Panthers fan, you can be proud. Look, you defended your home turf admirably. You gave the Rams a scare. And look, I was working at the time, and I truly thought, for a second, I really thought the Panthers were going to pull it off. Wow, would that have been crazy. At the end of the day, it's just a really good game, and where the team that was favored ultimately won in the end. The second game of wildcard weekend was just as good as the first, as the Chicago Bears beat the Green Bay Packers 31-27 in a game where we thought it was over by halftime. I mean, the Packers had a 21-3 lead at halftime. I mean, come on, it was over. I mean, the Packers receivers were having a great day. I mean, Dobbs and Golden having 200 yards between them both. Jordan Love was having a decent day, throwing the ball over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, the Packers were cooking. It looked like the Bears were that team that was just, it's on the up and up, but just a year too early yet. And for whatever reason, the Bears wait until the second half to play football. I don't understand it. I do not think that's a recipe for success. You can't just depend on that every game. So the Bears need to stop flirting with disaster here. They really do. So the Bears get the win. It was a really awesome game. One thing I want to talk about is their head coach, Ben Johnson. Look, it's one thing to be a fiery guy and to have that kind of chemistry with your locker room and to, rile your guys up and having the energy and everything like that. That's one thing, taking your shirt off after you beat my Eagles. But you're in the post-game locker room after a playoff game. Cameras are rolling. People are in there, beat reporters, the such. And you scream out, fuck the Packers, fuck them. There's a level of professionalism that I expect from a head coach. Now, say whatever you want behind closed doors. That's one thing. There's no love lost between the Packers and Bears, I assure you. I'm not even a fan within that division, but I know that division, that rivalry is a heated one. Completely understand that. Still, in that moment, not the best look. And I'm sure LaFleur kind of can be the same way in some sense. I get it. But that just was not a good look. Have a little bit of professionalism is all I'm saying. I know Bears fans are going to be like, oh, but LaFleur did this and the Packers talk shit and this. I get it. And it'll be the same thing to them, but like a little bit of professionalism. Talk all that shit. Do that type of stuff behind closed doors, not when the camera's rolling right after. It has that look of like, remember when Richard Sherman, when the Seattle Seahawks beat the 49ers and Richard Sherman's talking about, they tested me with a sorry ass receiver like Crabtree. Like, remember that? Some people like that. And if that's you, that's cool. For me, I'm kind of like, man, have a little act of class, a little bit of class, just a little bit. So I'm not the biggest fan of Ben Johnson right now. I think he, as a coach, as an offensive play caller and designer, I think he's a genius. I think he's really innovative. He's creative. He's aggressive, all that stuff. Nothing bad to say from a football standpoint about Ben Johnson. From a person, come on, man. Get your shit together. Moving on to Sunday games, we had a third really good game of wildcard weekend, and that was the Buffalo Bills beating the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-24. Another good game. I mean, we were just getting spoiled at this point. The Buffalo Bills were favored. The Jacksonville Jaguars were my Super Bowl pick out of the AFC. They were the dark horse for me. Well, maybe you can't even say dark horse because I honestly think the Jacksonville Jaguars were playing the best ball out of every team in the entire NFL, not just the AFC. Any team in the NFL. I thought the Jaguars were playing the best ball. It was just about, could they do it when it mattered most? Could they do it in the playoffs? And quite frankly, if I'm a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, I'm a little bit upset because the running game was not doing too bad against the Bills. And they didn't run it enough. I mean, I don't know if they just wanted to prove that Trevor Lawrence could sling the ball around and throw the rock all over the yard in the playoffs or not. But like, Etienne had 10 carries for 67 yards. That's easy math. That's 6.7 yards a carry. 10 times in the whole game? In a close game? It's not like you were getting blown out. You weren't getting blown out. This is one of those times where a team is lucky as hell they don't live in a big market. Because let me tell you, if this was Philadelphia or Dallas or New York or, name a big market, San Fran, like all these, you're lucky because it was sabotage. It was absolutely sabotage. Now, give credit to the Buffalo Bills and especially Josh Allen, because you look at the stats of, the rushing stats and the receiving stats and just, there's not anyone that really just jumps off the page at you. It's really Josh Allen doing what Josh Allen does, which is play Superman. And he absolutely can play Superman. It's just when you have to have him do that every week, there just needs to be 1 week. I mean, this is win or go home. This is elimination. You just need him to not be Superman or not be capable of being Superman. 1 game, and it's over. That's a scary place to live. But it's fun to watch. If you asked me who my favorite matchup out of the teams that are left in the Super Bowl would be, it would be Bills and Rams. I would love to see Bills versus Rams. That would be fun. But raise your hand, who thought this was going into overtime? I mean, the Jaguars had just north of a minute left, and all they needed was a field goal to keep the game going on. So, fun game, a third fun game in a row. That brings us to our next game. San Francisco 49ers at the Philadelphia Eagles. Sweet Jesus. Now, I'll be honest, this game went pretty much how I thought it would go, except for the end result. And I'll be honest, I had the Eagles winning. I had them winning. I'll be honest about it. But they were not even in my Super Bowl predictions. So that tells you I didn't have them going to the Super Bowl. So what this means is just a better draft pick and an earlier start to finding your offensive coordinator replacement. So in a lot of ways, losing in the wildcard round as opposed to losing in the divisional round or the NFC Championship game is actually better for those reasons. Now, yes, I had the Eagles winning. Why? Because as good as Shanahan is at designing and play calling an offense, I figured Vic Fangio would at least neutralize it. No, we weren't going to hold him to 3 points or 10 points, but they sure as hell weren't going to score in the 30s. And I thought this predictable, elementary, simple offense could push around a non-existent 49ers defense who you can't even name who's on their defense. They were bringing up 38-year-old guys off the street to play linebacker. I figured regardless of how simple, regardless of how just absolutely just elementary this offense is, that we would at least be able to move the ball and score points. Clearly not. Now, when the 49ers opened up and scored a touchdown on their opening drive, I wasn't that concerned. They got that one big play to Robinson, but for the most part, I was like, whatever, the defense will adjust. Because that's usually what they do. Teams will usually score on us early in the game, and then it kind of neutralizes. Vic Fangio figures out, what they're trying to do, and he makes adjustments, and we stop them. So I wasn't too concerned when the Niners jumped out to a 7-0 lead. I was also encouraged when I saw the Eagles move the ball down the field. Now, it was slow. We didn't have any great big plays or anything, but it was just a methodical, long play drive down the field. And we did it again and again in the first quarter. So I'm thinking, all right, cool. So not only is the 49ers defense banged up and dreadful, we're also going to wear them out. I think we had 10 minutes more of time of possession in the first half than the Niners did. We're going to wear them out. We went into halftime with a lead, a small lead, but the lead nonetheless, and we were going to come out in the second half with the ball with a chance to go up by 2 scores. At that point, game over, match, bye-bye 49ers. It was the same thing as the Buffalo game. I don't know where the Eagles go in the second half. You realize we beat the Bills at the Bills. The Bills have a very real chance of going to and winning the Super Bowl. We beat them at their place just a couple weeks ago. That's what makes you want to pull your hair out when you watch this team, because you know what they're capable of. We beat the Rams. People say, well, you took 2 blocked field goals. We beat them the last 3 times, including the playoffs. We beat the Packers. We beat the Lions. We just beat the Bills 2 or 3 weeks ago at their place. We are capable of beating really good teams. And when you look at the freaking playoff landscape, who the hell is this juggernaut? The Rams have issues in their secondary. That's how you can beat them, is throw on those corners. They're not a juggernaut. They almost lost to the Panthers. They did lose to the Panthers a few weeks ago. They can be had. The Seahawks, for as good as that defense is, the offense is a little, You just look over the AFC, there's no juggernauts over there. The Eagles had the best path in the world to go and repeat. The best opportunity in the world. But that offense just completely wasted it. Wasted a great opportunity, and we saw it all year long. You're down 4 points. I'm not going to make the excuse that, well, if Elliott didn't miss the extra point, we got to the 20. We could have kicked a field goal and we went in overtime, and then who knows? No, because they missed an extra point too. I don't it is what it is. You're down 4 points. You get all the way down to the San Francisco 20-yard line. Anything can happen. Devontae Smith makes that catch. Now you're first and goal at the 6. For as simple as the Eagles' offense is everywhere else, they're actually pretty creative down near the goal line. So we likely win. We likely win the game. We likely win the game if he catches that ball. It was high. Had both hands on it. Should have been caught. If AJ catches that one, that was, again, thrown a little too high. But if he catches that one, he's probably still running. It's a touchdown. Now you're asking the defense with a minute left or wherever it is to hold. On 1st and 10 at that 20, Jalen Hurts is looking, doesn't say anything he likes, and he goes to take off running. And there is a massive opening right there. He gets inside the 10-yard line, but he gets his ankles tripped up, and it's a sack, basically. He loses 1 yard, and now it's 2nd 11. Any number of those plays goes different. Eagles likely win that game. That's how close. Most games are, really, but that's how close that game came down. That's how close. How close. Just any one of those different plays happen, and it's a different story. Why do I not care? Here's why. Number one, it shouldn't have been that close. With the different talent that was on each team, the Eagles should have mopped the floor with the San Francisco 49ers. Eagles should have mopped the floor with them. Simple. So do you really feel great about it? Second, the Eagles are losing in their next game. And if somehow, some way, they get out of Chicago with the win, which I don't think they do. But if they do, now you're going to go to Seattle or you're going to host the Rams. You ain't getting out of that one. So it's who cares? Who cares? Let's say if any one of those plays go differently. Now, you're not going to get a San Francisco 49er fan to agree to this, but the game was so damn close. Any number of little different things happen, Eagles win. But it doesn't matter. That's the thing. They're just going to lose in the next round or the round after that. Like they weren't going anywhere. This was not a Super Bowl team. And you could see it all year long. My team has only won 2 Super Bowls. 2. And in both those years, you could feel it pretty much all through the year. I know there was a little bit of drama with A.J. Brown, especially after that Carolina win that we had where we barely beat the Panthers. And he was talking about passing as a problem. I know there was a little bit of drama there. I get it. And there was a little bit of drama after we beat the Browns with Sirianni going after the fans. And, is he going to be fired and blah, blah, blah. There was a little bit of drama last year, even with it. But still, the way we played and the way we were beating teams, you could feel that there was dominance there. In 2017, now it was with Carson Wentz for most of it, but you could still feel the way we were dominating teams. You could just feel it. This year, you couldn't feel it. You couldn't feel it. You felt like, even though we were winning, God, every game felt like a loss. Like it was just like, good Lord. And that's the thing. Could we beat the 49ers? Yes. Could we beat the Bears? I believe we could. Could we beat the Seattle Seahawks? Yes. Could we beat the Rams? Yes, we did beat the Rams. That's the thing. This team has the talent to where if they just find a little bit of lightning, they could beat a team. Like I said, they beat the Bills just a couple weeks ago at the Bills. The problem is you can't expect for everything to go right for 4 games in a row. The margin of error for this team was too small. That's basically what it comes down to. You want a team that at the end of the year is so good that the margin of error is as big as you can get it. Because you're not going to play your absolute best game every single week. It just doesn't happen like that. So you want your margin of error to be really, really good. Last year, the Eagles' margin of error was huge. Why? Because they had an amazing, dare I say, historic run game they could count on. They could just go back to it. So if the passing game was not lighting it up, well, just hand it off to Saquon Barkley. Let that defense eat. This year, man, you didn't have the run game. You're asking your defense to play out of their freaking mind week in and week out while you go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, hoping that at some point you scratch together a drive or make a play somewhere, somehow to win the game. That's called having a very, very small margin of error. And look, it can work. Like I said, we beat the Rams. We beat the Bills. We've beaten the Packers and the Lions. We've beaten some really good teams this year. You just can't expect that small margin of error to carry you again through the playoffs. So when it comes to next year, I hope the Eagles find a way to have a bigger margin of error. That's what it comes down to. That's literally the best way to sum it up. You want a bigger margin of error. Who's at fault? The Eagles already replaced their offensive coordinator. Now, we can argue whether it was just him or not, but it was definitely part of him. The people that are trying to sit there and say it's just Jalen Hurts and that it's not Kevin Patullo, blah, 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 you're losing your mind. I watched the All-22. I see the offensive play calls. I see the sequencing. And I'm like, what are we doing? For example, the last play of the Eagles season, 4th and 11 at the 21-yard line. The Eagles, their season on the line, run 4 verticals into quarters coverage, into cover 4 coverage. Like, that is the easiest play to stop in quarters coverage. Your season on the line. That's what you're calling? 4 people go out. Just go deep. For all 4 of you. That's your season on the line play call. And when you look at the sideline view, the camera's catching up to Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, and Kevin Patullo all standing there. Who's the one talking? It's Kevin Patullo. He's the one calling the play. I wish Jalen Hurts would have said, no, fuck you, or did something at the line of scrimmage like, I'm not calling all verticals. I don't know. Hey, look, Jalen Hurts did not play great that game. There were some passes that were dropped. Hey, look, NFL wide receiver, you get paid millions of dollars. You get both hands on the ball. You catch the ball in a playoff game. It's literally what you're being paid for. I don't care that it wasn't a nice, rosy-dozy little perfect little pass that you like so well. Like, no, you're a freaking NFL receiver getting paid millions of dollars. AJ Brown, you want to sit there and call yourself one of the best in the game? Fucking go up and get it. Period. With that said, yes, Jalen Hurts could have placed a better ball, could have played better. There were some receivers that were open that he missed. For sure. I don't know why he didn't run more. Like, it's the playoffs, Jalen. Run. If you think that you're just going to sit back and be a pocket passer the rest of your career and you're going to be one of the best in the game to do it, you're sadly mistaken. That's not your game. It will never be your game. I'm not saying he's a bad passer. I'm not. All you Jalen fanboys, not saying he's a bad passer. I believe he can make every single throw and that he's more accurate than people give him credit for. But him throwing on time, in rhythm, that's not his game. I know a lot of people want McDaniel as the OC. That's not the best fit for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts doing the whole like play action, then passing like on time, and like that's just not his game. If it all things equal, yeah, that McDaniel is who I'd want. But I don't know if that's necessarily Jalen Hurts' game. I'm not a Jalen Hurts hater or a fanboy. I don't care if he gets benched, traded, starter. I don't care. I want whatever is best for the Eagles. And it's frustrating because the Eagles don't open up about anything. We don't know the inner workings. I know what I see on the All-22. I know that the play calls and the sequencing does not make sense. It's simple as hell. And I don't have a problem with simple per se. I don't. You don't have to be like a Sean McVay masterclass of offense and motions everywhere and this and that and everything. You don't have to be that. But the things they did made no damn sense and were the easiest in the world to predict and to defend. Whose fault is that? If you're saying Jalen Hurts needs it that way, I'm clueless because it's like, why would you make it harder on yourself? Like, how about some high-low concepts to where it puts a defender, it makes a defender wrong. Regardless of what he chooses, he's wrong. Put defenders in predicaments like that. And the Eagles don't do that. High-low concepts, some more meshes, people crossing over the middle of the field. And, you see, like, I freaking sit back and I'll watch, like, for example, like Jared Goff, those deep dig routes, like just, 20, 30 yards down the field. And guess what? The receiver's still running because it's freaking thrown to a place where the receiver can actually run and catch it in stride. I see all these offenses, like, I'm just like, man, wish we could do stuff like that. So who's at fault? I think Jalen Hurts is limited, so that limits the offense in some ways. I'm not saying that doesn't, but I also have a hard time thinking, like, for example, 4 verticals when your season's on the line to quarters coverage. Why would Jalen Hurts want that? Because I don't care if you're Josh Allen right there. No one was open. Now, maybe Josh Allen buys time and runs or, whatever, puts on the Superman cape and does something crazy. Sure. But I have a hard time thinking Jalen Hurts wants to make it harder on himself. So there's like 2 ways to look at it. People can sit there and say, well, Jalen Hurts isn't good enough. That's why he needs it that way. What do you mean he's not good enough? That's why he needs it that way. Because if he needs it that way, you need an amazing quarterback to be able to make that work because it's so predictable. Defenses, everybody's covered. Like it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You would think if Jalen Hurts is so bad, he needs an offense that's easier to get people open. You know what I mean? There's mumblings that it's Jalen Hurts inside the Eagles locker room. Of course, us fans that watch the tape, we see the terrible offense and play calling and everything else. So we hate Patullo. I don't care what it is at this point. I don't. And I think the only people that truly know are the people inside that building. Well, if for whatever reason it is Jalen Hurts, bench him, trade him, get him out of here. But they're not going to do that. Why? Because the Eagles are so damn worried about being politically correct. Well, we can't do that. He won the Super Bowl. We can't bench a Super Bowl MVP. Like, we can't do that. Bitch, why the fuck not? And then you have to think about how much of it is Sirianni. Because I tell you what, I happen to think this has been Sirianni's offense all along. Different play caller, maybe a few different wrinkles here and there. But I happen to think this is Sirianni's offense all along. So here's my thing. Whatever offensive coordinator you have, hey, Sirianni, back the fuck up. You know how Vic Fangio runs his defense? It's his defense. He has full autonomy over it. It's his. You don't fucking butt your nose into that business. Same thing for the offense. You back the fuck up. You stay the hell away. You don't butt your nose into it. You let the offensive coordinator, whoever it is, run their show. That's the only way Sirianni should be allowed to keep his job. And that's another thing. I guarantee you, Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman want to fire Nick Sirianni. I guarantee they want to fire him. I guarantee you they do. The only reason why they're not is, again, politics. Well, we just won the Super Bowl. I mean, we can't fire the head coach after 1 year. I mean, he still made the playoffs. He still won the division. So we win the Super Bowl. And then the next year, we win 11 games, win the division, go to the playoffs. And just because he doesn't reach the Super Bowl, we're going to fire him? I get it. It would be a weird look. But who would be knocking on Sirianni's door to hire him as a head coach? Do you think he would get any head coaching opportunities when you fire him? No. He sure as hell won't get any offensive coordinator offerings. Nobody else wants him. So we're stuck in this thing. Like, I want Sirianni gone. I don't like him. It's just word salad every conference. I'm not saying you have to spill the beans and the secrets and everything else. Like, there's some things you got to keep close to the vest. I get it. But he offers nothing. Nothing. You ask him a question at a press conference and he just talks all the way around except answering that question. He offers nothing. He offers nothing. I want Sirianni fired so damn bad. And I'm at the point now, and I'm sorry all you Jalen Hurts lovers, I'm actually at the point now where I want Hurts gone. Why? Man, he's just polarizing for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because he was benched at Alabama, and then he wins the Super Bowl, and it just makes him really polarizing. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm just over it. I'm over the fan base. The NFL world really divided into two. You're either a Jalen Hurts lover or you're a hater. And I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of it. I know he's limited. I also know that he can be clutch at times too. And he's great for the franchise. He's never going to say the wrong thing. He's never going to put someone underneath the bus. He's always going to come up to work and show up on time. He's everything. Like he'd be who you want your daughter to date. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to embarrass your franchise or anything like that. There's lots of reasons to like Jalen Hurts. I do think he's limited. And there are times where I'm like, man, I wish we just had a gunslinger back there. Someone who would just like put fear in defenses or put fear in secondaries. With Jalen Hurts, I think you do have to play offense a certain way. I just don't think it needed to be like this. I'm glad Kevin Patullo's gone. So we'll see. We'll see. We're going to hire outside. We go to the Super Bowl and then we hire within Nick Sirianni's friend. And we have a bad year, which still was a playoff year, but a bad year. Then we hire outside. We go to the Super Bowl again. And then we hire within Nick Sirianni's friend. We have a down year. We're hiring outside again. So maybe that means Super Bowl? We'll see. And before I move on, for the record, I don't want to sit there and not give the players their blame. At the end of the day, like Cam Jurgens and this offensive line has missed way too many blocks. I do think it's a little bit like the defense just completely selling out. And if you have a whole defense just selling out against the run, it's hard for those five guys to just, like there's just no fear of the passing game at all. Just no fear. Teams are just whatever. But you're still missing blocks. You need to be held accountable. Saquon Barkley, there's times where he just doesn't hit the hole like he should. He's dancing a little too much. Like, I think Tank Bigsby last year was a better running back than Saquon Barkley. However unfair that is, that's just what the eye test told me. Receivers dropping passes, Jalen Hurts missing reads or maybe throwing bad balls or not seeing receivers open. At the end of the day, players need to take accountability too. So I don't want people to think that I'm saying that players just get off scot-free. I'm just saying between Kevin Patullo, Nick Sirianni, and Jalen Hurts, there's a problem in there. And it's either one person or a combination of all three of them. But there's something there. That little inner circle right there is the main issue. And we don't know exactly everything because the Eagles keep it behind closed doors, which is probably the smart thing for them, but it's frustrating outside because it's like, what's the issue, guys? What's the issue? Is it the quarterback? The quarterback needs everything this way? Like everything, this simplicity, this everything, he needs it this way? Is it the offensive coordinator that can't sequence plays together, doesn't get it. Is it Nick Sirianni? This has all been Nick Sirianni's offense all along, and he meddles too much and just won't give offensive coordinators the autonomy to do their own thing. Like, where is it? But I guarantee you it's within that 3 somewhere. That's all I'm saying. One of them's gone. The other 2 remain. I don't know. And that's really it. That was really it of the competitive games on wildcard weekend. The last 2 games, the Chargers lost to the Patriots 16-3, and the Texans mollywopped the Steelers 30-6. I really don't want to go into those games too much. I mean, the big thing with Patriots and Chargers, like the Justin Herbert, they couldn't protect him. The whole season told you how shit that offensive line was. Yep, pretty much. And Aaron Rodgers just had one of those bad Aaron Rodgers days. See, it happens. It just is what it is. Texans have a pretty good defense. So I think I went 3 for 3. I went 3 for 3. Did not have the 49ers beating the Eagles, did not have the Bears beating the Packers, and did not have the Bills beating the Jaguars. Those are the games I got wrong. The other 3 I got right. So hope I do better in the divisional round. Speaking of the divisional round, let's get to it. Bills at Broncos. This is going to be a fun one. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, I want the Bills to win because I think the Bills in the Super Bowl will be more interesting TV than if the Broncos or the Patriots or the Texans were. I think that Josh Allen, this is his time to shine. He's the best quarterback in the playoffs. You could probably say the best quarterback in the NFL, period. But you know what I mean? Like there's no other star quarterback that he has to go up against. Drake May's still young, but I got the Broncos winning. I gave it a little bit of thought. I just think it's a bad matchup. Now, the Bills already proved me wrong once against a decent defense. Can they do it again? Josh Allen is going to have to put on that Superman cape again because the Bills, who are already limited in their weapons on offense, they do have James Cook, Kincaid, but this Denver Broncos defense is pretty legit. Will Josh Allen don the cape again? He's going to have to because there's not going to be a lot of open running lanes. There's not going to be a lot of open receivers. So Josh Allen is going to have to buy time. And with that Denver Broncos pass rush, let's see how much time he's going to be able to create. I think it's probably going to end up something like this. I think the Broncos are going to slowly get a lead, just steadily increasing it, just steadily, just playing consistent and steady ball while the Bills are just trying to do everything they can to make a play. They might go 3 and out here or there. And then towards the end of the game, Josh Allen will put on that cape and they'll start making some plays and making a comeback that'll just fall short. That's kind of how I see it happening. Now, full disclosure, Bills fans, I want the Bills to win. I want them in the Super Bowl. So I hope I'm wrong. I'm just telling you how I see it. So will Josh Allen be able to create some magic again and get his team to the AFC Championship game where he will face a Texans team that was not expected to be there? Or will he face the New England Patriots in an AFC East tie-breaking rematch? Winner goes to the bowl. I would love it. I would love it if they won. I just think the Broncos are going to get it done. The next game is the Week 18 rematch where the winner got the number 1 seed. It will be the San Francisco 49ers, this time heading to Seattle for a showdown with the Seahawks. And call me a sore loser, call me sour grapes. I hope the Seattle Seahawks whip the shit out of the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, I really hope they blow them out. I hope it is such a blowout that the 49ers are just embarrassed as shit. And no, it's not because they beat my Philadelphia Eagles. That's not it. I know that's what people want to think. It's because I hate the 49ers. This iteration of the 49ers, the last 5, 6, 7 years, I can't stand. In 2022, the Eagles beat the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl. In that game, we knocked Brock Purdy out of the game in the first quarter. And then we knocked his backup out. The 49ers could not pass the ball. They couldn't. They didn't have a third quarterback. They were screwed, and the Eagles won easily. It was 31-7 or something like that. All offseason long, all the 40 whiners, and I call them whiners for a reason, all they did, the players, I don't care about the fans. The fans are going to fan. The fans are going to fan. But all the players did was bitch and moan and cry, well, if Brock Purdy didn't get knocked out, we would have whooped the Eagles. We would have whooped them, blah, blah, blah. Motherfucker, he didn't trip on the way to the stadium. The Eagles knocked him out. Oh yeah, and by the way, they knocked his backup out. So that proves it wasn't just a fluky like circumstance. No, there was a correlation. You couldn't stop our pass rush that day. Like we knocked him out, and then we knocked his backup out. Does that not say anything to you? And the Eagles ran decently on the 49ers. Like we ran through them. We racked up a decent amount of rushing yards against the 49ers. And we scored 31 points. I understand you guys couldn't compete offensively because you had no other quarterback, but we still scored 31 points on our end. But it was just bitching and bitching and bitching and bitching. I was like, good Lord, shut up. Enter the 2023 season. We were not as good. We started out 10-1, and it's okay to barely beat good teams, but we were barely beating bad teams. We beat the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen in overtime in the rain. Cool. We beat the team that beat us in the Super Bowl and who would actually end up winning the next Super Bowl in the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Cool. Impressive. We beat the Miami Dolphins, who at the time were a pretty high-flying offense. And we barely won all those games, and that's fine because you can barely beat good teams. You won though, but we were looking like dog shit and barely beating bad teams too. It really felt like this year, like every win we had was like, whew, like it didn't look great. And the 49ers started our collapse where we lost. Yeah, we started out 10-1 and we lost 5 of our last 6. In that game, in the pregame, the 49ers team kind of went and trotted along our sideline, interrupting our kind of warm-ups and everything else. Like, why do you got to come all the way over to our sideline? Why? There's a whole football field. You couldn't go. Why? It was an intimidation thing. It was like a, fuck you, we don't give a shit about you, we don't respect you type of thing. I felt that was very, very classless. I felt that was very disrespectful. Like, what are you doing? Well, after they beat us this time in the playoffs, I guess the reports were their locker room was singing the Fly Was Fly song and shouting, send them home, or whatever. I don't even know. But it was just like, motherfuckers, we are the more talented team. You guys are the better coach team. I think everybody can agree with that. I don't see the Niners going to or winning the Super Bowl, not as beat up as they are. Can we at least agree with that? So yes, call it sour grapes, call it whatever you want. I hope the 49ers get their teeth caved in. I hope they get destroyed by the Seattle Seahawks. I've never been a bigger Seattle Seahawks fan in my life. No, it's not because you beat my birds. It's how you consistently are sore winners and sore losers. Don't respect you. I don't. I thought when Debo left, because he was one of the bigger talkers, I thought when he left and went to the Commanders that the 49ers would not be, I don't want to use the word thuggish, but as immature. But yeah, guess they still are. Guess it's in that culture. So I hope the Seahawks absolutely destroy the 49ers, and I think that's what's going to happen. Now, I do have respect in Shanahan, so I think it'll be still a game. I still respect what he can do offensively in his design and getting people open and getting those chunk plays. But at the end of the day, the Seahawks have a really good defense, just like the Eagles, maybe even better. And the Seahawks offense is not as, well, let's say, pathetic and incompetent as the Eagles offense is. So I think they'll be able to handle that 49ers banged up defense even more. So I do see the Seahawks winning. I think most people would probably have the Seahawks winning. That brings us to the Texans and the Patriots. Out of all 4 of these games, this is the game I'm probably least excited about. Not because, for example, the Patriots can't win the Super Bowl. Of course they could. Maybe it's because I haven't watched the Texans that much. Maybe because I thought the Texans at one point in the season were just dead to rights. And all of a sudden they come back and do really well. They have a really good defense. It's whether Drake May has the answers to the test or not. Are the Texas defense going to rattle him or not? What's the game plan going in? I'm going to say the Patriots win this game. I don't got much more to say of it than that. I think it's going to be Patriots and Broncos in the AFC Championship game. I really do. I hope it's Patriots and Bills for obvious reasons. That'll be fun. But I got Patriots winning this game. Which brings me to the last game of the divisional round. It is Bears and Rams. Rams going to Chicago. I want the Rams to win because in my perfect Super Bowl, it would be Rams and Bills. You know, the more I think about this, the Bears actually have a shot at the Super Bowl. I think it's a small shot because right now I'm going to pick the Rams in this game. I'm just telling you straight up. But with it being at Chicago and not on that fast turf at Los Angeles, that gives the Bears a real shot here. The Bears absolutely could beat the Los Angeles Rams. With it being at Chicago, if it's windy, all that stuff, they absolutely have a path here. Now, what they want is somehow, some way, the 49ers to beat the Seahawks. Now you're at Chicago against a banged up 49ers team. The Bears do have a path here. I just don't think they make it out of this game. Would I be shocked if the Bears beat the Rams at Soldier Field or whatever they call it now? No, I would not. I would not be shocked at all. It's the conditions they want. It's the environment they want. The Bears fans are going to be going crazy. Would not be shocked. This is still a very young Bears team. A Bears team that's learning how to win big games and learning how good they are and can be. I just don't know if they're 100% there yet. You know, Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay and that offense, they already know what's on the line. They already know how to win these type of games. I think you got to lean that way. So that's it. That's my predictions, which means if I'm right, it'll be Patriots at Broncos and Rams at Seahawks. Now, what I'd like it to be is Bills at Patriots, Rams at Seahawks, because that would be division fun, man. That would be hell yes. And I'm hoping it works that way, but we'll see what happens. All right, guys, this is the divisional edition of the Tailgate Talkers podcast. I'm your host, Justin Morris. We'll be back next week for the championship edition. Stay safe. Peace out, guys.